Hello and welcome back to another video. This is the 5th episode of story in which Indra and Ashura never looked at each other directly. Even when they died, their chakra was transferred to Senju and Uchiha clan descendants. Hashirama and Madara met the same fate as their forefathers. Watch as Naruto reunites the two families and breaks the bond of hatred that afflicts the elemental nations. Please smash the like and subscribe buttons. Let's get started. Indigo, the same color as her hair. Her hair, darker than the blue shade of a glacier under the moonlight. The same color as the stains of the beautiful plants in his garden. A beautiful intoxicating shade. Her smile more beautiful than the first light at dawn. Yes. I will always protect her. He thought. He didn't know the reason, but watching her laugh shyly made him feel something inside. Something he had never felt before. He saw her moving her lips, poking her fingers shyly and her cheeks getting slightly red. He found it cute. Nah. Naruto-kun. Hinata said shyly. He kept staring at her from his sitting position. The way her hair moved in front of her right eye cause of the light breeze was indeed a sight to behold. He saw her trying to keep those few strands of hair in place, but failing every time. He smiled as he saw her puff her cheeks in frustration and giving up on it. Naruto-kun, Hinata said again, a bit more confidently now. That seemed to bring the blonde boy out of his daze as he realized he must have spaced out. He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly and said, Sorry Hinata-chan, I was lost in my thoughts. What were you saying again? Would you like to go inside now? Tusan may have to leave any time now, she said. She saw a tiny glimpse of sadness come over his eyes, but it was gone as soon as it came. Naruto nodded, deciding not to voice his thoughts about his feeling to stay with her more. Both quietly got up from their position and walked back inside the house. He felt strange. Strange, as in he did not know how to describe his feelings. Both had spent around an hour sitting at the gardens. Either talking a bit, sitting on the lush green grass or looking at the sky. There were moments when both were silent and moments when both unknowingly glanced at each other. Yet, the silence between them was not awkward. Rather, it was comforting. For Hinata, she felt safe with Naruto. For Naruto, he felt at ease around her. It was the start of an everlasting bond between the two descendants. At the Hokage office it was around 10:30 in the morning in the village hidden in the leaves, and Sarutobi Hiruzen could be seen sitting at his desk with a grim expression on his face. He had 2 letters in front of him. One was to be delivered to the Raikage of Kumogakure and the other was for Jiraiya. It saddened his heart that Naruto, a child so young, had to take a life because of another person's greed. He knew how close Jiraiya was to the young boy, and it would certainly anger Jiraiya on hearing of Kumo's actions. He stared at the letter that was addressed to the Raikage and wondered if he was doing the right thing. It was a big gamble on his behalf. But Konoha needed more alliance right now. And from what he had heard from Minato, was a reasonable person when it came to the welfare of his village and his good friend. His gaze then shifted towards the portraits of the Hokage that were hanging on the wall, to the side of the door. Especially on the portrait of the Yondaime. Forgive this old man, Minato. I could not protect your son. Sarutobi thought as he exhaled a deep sigh. Sarutobi was a pacifist individual. He always found the good in people, and at times it was his goodwill that cost him. Even after witnessing 3 great ninja wars and minor conflicts between villages during his lifetime, he still believed that the current shinobi world could change. Life expectancy in the ninja world had a very fragile value. Normally, one did not live past the age of 30. Only a handful of shinobi whose battle skill and knowledge of the shinobi arts were well above the norms of normalcy lived past that age. For Sarutobi, his battle prowess was a boon as well as a gift. All he ever wished was to live in a world where young ones would not have to be killed in wars, where a village wouldn't turn on another because of greed, where little children would not have to sully their hands with blood. Especially a place where his wife was still alive. He sighed again as he got rid of those feelings from his mind. It wouldn't dwell well for the leader of a village to drown themselves in the mistakes of the past. He bit his thumb, drawing out a bit of blood, and went through a couple of hand signs, then slammed his hand on the desk saying, "Kuchios no Jutsu." In a puff of smoke, two small white-colored monkeys appeared, standing on the Hokage's desk in front of Sarutobi. "Ah, Sarutobi. What did you summon us for?" asked the smaller one named Shiro. "Well, it's an important delivery mission. You must take this letter to Jiraiya as soon as possible and hand it to him. Tell him it's urgent," Sarutobi said as he gave the letter to the young monkey. Shiro gave a mock salute and immediately took off from the open window beside the Hokage's desk. Sarutobi then turned towards the slightly bigger one and said, "Kaneohe, you must take this letter to the mailing department of Konoha and ask them to send it to the Reikage of Kumogakure no Sato immediately. It's of utmost importance." The monkey named Kaneohe took the scroll from Sarutobi and gave a firm nod before leaving the office too. As soon as the two summons had taken off from the office, he slumped back into his chair. "This job is hard. But now finally, I have some time to catch up on my reading," Sarutobi muttered perversely. He then opened his bottommost drawer, pulling out an orange-colored book named Ika Ika Paradise, Bath House Edition. Underground based northeast side of Konoha, deep in the shadows of an underground cave, a man could be seen standing near the window looking out at the forest surrounding the beautiful leaf village. He had a cane in his left hand and his face was turned slightly up as if looking at the blue sky. "Soon," he said. "Soon. Hiruzen. No matter that it didn't go as planned. Sooner or later one of my aces will hit the mark and your weak pacifist ideals shall crumble down. The bonds you try to create within this village through your weak ideals is its very weakness," he muttered to himself. In any case, it was surprising for the Jinchuriki to be able to perform Mokuton. He'll mostly definitely be an ideal part of my plan. If I'm able to refurbish him per my likings, he thought. A few moments later, two figures landed behind him and kneeled. "Danzo-sama, Sandem-sama has sent a letter each to Jiraiya-sama and Kumogakure regarding the previous night's incident. Jiraiya-sama will probably arrive by tomorrow and the Reikage and his men will probably arrive at the village within the next 4 to 5 days due to the situation's importance," said Torian. "I see. I have no doubt that fool, A, would come here. I will need to be present during the meetings. Keep training our shinobi for Plan Shometsu. It's crucial for the utopia that we aim for." Fu Yamanaka, a light blonde-haired boy, got up from his kneeled position and went closer to Danzo. "Danzo-sama, when should we move in to capture the Kyubi's Jinchuriki?" he asked in a monotone voice. "Leave him be for now. Let his skills develop further under Jiraiya and Tsunade. Our plan won't be put into motion for quite some time now due to the recent developments. A year or so prior to executing our plan would be an ideal time to capture the Jinchuriki." The two nodded as they heard their leader's words. Spread the news about the kidnapping of the Hyuga heiress and the fact that it was the Jinchuriki who killed the kidnapper and saved her," Danzo said and dismissed the two route captains. Torian and Fu nodded and swiftly disappeared with a sunshin. "It will be interesting to see if you tell the council about the boys' Mokuton Kekkei Genkai, Hiruzen," Danzo thought wickedly. At the Senju compound it was evening now and Naruto was idly lying on his bed. Tsunade had gone to meet with the Sandame to discuss matters relating to the upcoming talks with the Reikage and his diplomats. It had been hours since he was lying on his bed and just looking at the ceiling. Despite him telling everyone that he was okay, he was not. Since childhood, he had been looked warily by the villagers of Konohagakure. He could watch how his mother got sad seeing him unhappy due to the villagers' treatment. And honestly, watching his mother unhappy always made his heart clench. He could take the glares from those villagers, but watching his Ka-chan sad broke his heart every time. So, he learned to endure. Not for himself, but for his mother. It's human tendency to poke something to get a reaction out of it. People do it for amusement or as a source of outlet. But, if the reaction is taken away, there is no amusement in it for people. Ever since Naruto decided to not let the villagers' glares affect him, it decreased slowly. For the first few months it was only a few people, and as a year passed since the incident, including the pink-haired girl in the park, the majority of the population of Konohagakure seemed not to care about the Jinchuriki. For the past few hours, whenever he closed his eyes, all he could see was the look of horror on the face of that Kumo shinobi. It terrified him. Was it right for me to kill him? He thought out loud. He had thought about it a lot in the past few hours. The shinobi he killed probably had a family too. What about them? What is he to them? To the Hyuga family, he is a savior, but to the people of Kumogakure and especially his family, he is a killer. Yes, Naruto sat upright after hearing that voice. He looked around to see if anyone was nearby, but found no one. He closed his eyes and tried sensing anyone he did not know, yet he could not find anyone. Ever since he realized he could sense people's emotions, he made a point to recognize the chakra of people he was familiar with. Who is it? He asked a bit warily. It's the Kyubi boy, said the massive chakra entity. How can you talk to me? Naruto asked, surprised, all trace of wariness now gone from his voice. The Bijou was mildly surprised too. No human, apart from him, had ever spoken to him without a shred of fear present in their voice. You do not have speak loudly. Think what you want to say. Do you want people to think that you are insane? Hey! Naruto said indignantly. Even though Naruto couldn't see the Bijou, he knew the Kyubi was smirking behind the bars. Naruto laid down on his bed and once again stared at the ceiling. But how can you talk to me this way, and why do you think it was right for me to kill the shinobi? He asked the Bijou again. Every Bijou can talk to their Jinchuriki through their mind. Once a Jinchuriki visits their Bijou in their mindscape, a mind link is set up which allows us Bijou to talk to their Jinchuriki. But you can shut out my thoughts, just like I can choose not to listen to yours, said the Kyubi no Kitsune, surprising Naruto once again. Do not fret over that shinobi. Killing is an aspect of the life you chose. Had you not done something, you and that girl would have died most definitely. Even after hearing that, Naruto was not convinced about his actions. He felt there could have been another way for the matter to be resolved. You cannot save everyone. Protecting one sometimes means leaving another behind. That is what this current system of shinobi world has created. The hatred that delved within humans has created the hatred in me. The way the different shinobi villages work today has created the distrust in humans today. It is not your fault that shinobi died last night. It is the result of the hatred festered from generations before, which the wretched humans have passed down in their family. Naruto's 5-year-old mind could not comprehend the gravity of the words completely which was said by the Kyubi. He was only 5 years old after all. He has never stepped outside the village. He still does not know how the world works. But he understood hatred. When you are subjected to an emotion from such a young age by many, you tend to understand it well. The fact that he could sense what people feel did not make things easier for him. Sometimes, a gift considered by one, can be a curse to another. Then I will remove all the hatred in this world. If there is such a thing as peace, I will find it. I do not want people to be sad. That is my wish, thought Naruto with conviction. You won't have an easy path. There will be a lot of bloodshed, lot of pain you must go through. Lot of people whom you must save. Can you bear the pain? The hatred of so many people? If my pain causes others joy, even if only slightly, then I would take it. I am the only one who can understand their pain, their hatred and their anger. I will take it all. I would do it for my precious village. He thought passionately. I don't know if I can achieve everything on my own. But I know I will have my friends and family with me. I don't know how the world works yet, but I have hope that one day everyone in this world will understand each other. That there will be no more senseless killing. He replied. Ashura, thought the Sanbai. He could not forget those words. The words spoken by his father's youngest son. He, too, had hope for this world. He too believed that one day everyone would get along with each other. Alas, he died with his belief at the end, while his and Indra's descendants continued their bloody feud. Maybe he is indeed the one Tsunade spoke about. Sanbai thought as a wave of nostalgia passed through his mind. As Naruto continued to lay there, his eyelids started to close slightly as his tiredness started to catch up to him mentally. He didn't know for how long he was lying on bed, but his talk with the Kyuubi had calmed his troubled mind immensely. His last thought before he fell asleep would mark the start of a wonderful friendship. Thank you, Kyuubi. Wow. Would you help me as I go ahead on my path? Naruto thought as he fell asleep. For someone who's known hatred all his life, it was a different feeling being thanked. No matter where he went, the only thing humans did was curse him, hate him and used his brethren and him for their own twisted means. But this boy was not like them. The Bijou could feel he was different. Someone meant for greatness and one who can change the world. I shall stand by your side no matter what. Show me how you could change this world. Naruto. The Kyuubi thought as he rested his head on his paws and closed his eyes. Next day, Konohagakure no Sato. It was 5 in the evening and the market streets of the village hidden in the leaves was bustling with activity. It was the month of January and several merchants traveled from across the elemental nations to sell their products in the various shinobi villages. Several such people could be seen standing in their stalls/stands with a variety of materials displayed in front of them. Civilians and shinobi alike were coming in and out of shops and moving from one stand to another. Among so many of these people, there was one young blonde-haired boy who was walking with his hands in pocket and looking down. At first glance, one might think the boy was walking aimlessly. However, he had walked along this path so many times in the past year that it was second nature to him now. Yet again, Naruto had a lot going in his mind. Jiraiya had arrived in the village early in the morning and before anything, he went straight to the Senju compound to check up on his godson. Just like Sarutobi had thought, Jiraiya had not taken lightly to Kumogakure's actions. Despite of his anger towards the Kumo shinobi, Jiraiya felt more worried than angry. At first glance at Naruto's eyes, he could see the spark of innocence which was once evident in the blonde's eyes was now gone. Also, the matter of Naruto capable of using Mokuton was troubling to him. Even to this day, Mokuton is regarded as a sacred Kekkei Genkai in Konohagakure no Sato. It is said that the entirety of Konoha was formed by the revered Shodai Hokage from his Mokuton abilities. So, the fact that Naruto, who is not even a Senju by biological birth, possessing the same ability as Hashirama Senju was puzzling. Yet, with the blonde's newfound abilities, Jiraiya believed Naruto's life would become bridled with more hardships. If the fact that Naruto is the container of the Kyuubi no Yokon Sanbai along with possessing Mokuton, through which he could very well control the two Bijus with proper control got out, it would put a hefty target on his head. As Naruto neared the Uchiha clan compound, his mind wandered off to the events that unfolded during his training and he smiled. Flashback. Naruto looked around the training ground he was standing on. Naruto, Jiraiya and Tsunade were standing on training ground 1, which was behind the Hokage monument and was meant for the Hokage's personal use only. Like most of the training grounds Naruto had went to inside the village, this one was vast with various large trees around the edges. There was also a small pond on the west side of the training ground. Jiraiya and Tsunade looked at Naruto curiously as he closed his eyes and just stood there calmly. Just as Tsunade was about to call out to her son, Naruto turned around with a wide smile on his face. Hashirama Sofu. He trained here a lot, did he not? Asked the little blonde. How did you know Naruto-chan? Tsunade asked as she composed herself. Naruto always seemed to surprise her with his uncanny abilities. I can feel it. Hashirama Sofu's chakra. It's similar to mine. He was the only another shinobi who was capable of performing Mokuton. Our chakra is bound to be similar to each other. Naruto surmised. Tsunade walked towards her son and ruffled his hair, which made him pout childishly. Jiraiya, who was standing quiet all the while, stepped towards Naruto and said, "You're right, Naruto. This is where Hashirama-sama trained most of the time after the village was made. He and Tobirama-sama practiced in their respective ninjutsu here without any disturbance. You see, this training ground is special." Mito Uzumaki, Hashirama-sama's wife, had put a barrier around this training ground, so as only those whose chakra signature is stored in the barrier can be allowed entrance. At first, it was only Hashirama-sama's and Tobirama-sama's chakra signatures. Later, Sarutobi-sensei's chakra was added to it when he became Hokage. And after him, Yondaime Hokage's chakra was added to it. Jiraiya looked at Naruto again and saw how closely he was paying attention to each and every word he was saying. He was glad all the meditation exercises which Tsunade and him made Naruto do in his earlier years worked well. It would have been impossible to make Naruto sit in one spot for more than few seconds earlier. You see, this ground is a legacy of all the Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato. All of them have trained here during their time as leader of the village. One of the main reasons we brought you here is because of your Mokuton ability. Your mother and I believe it will be best for you to train over here. As we told you, not many people have clearance to come to this training ground, so it will be safe to practice your Mokuton techniques here. Over the past couple of years, you have trained extensively in physical exercises, strategical theories, chakra control exercises and the theory behind how to mold chakra. I believe it's time that you moved on to elemental manipulation of chakra. Jiraiya said seriously. Despite the seriousness of the topic, Naruto had a wide smile on his face. He had seen Sasuke use Katan Jutsu so many times and he too wanted to learn which nature type his chakra was attuned to. He pumped his hands in the air victoriously and said, "Yada. Finally, I can show Sasuke some cool jutsu." Tsunade smiled seeing her son so happy. She had thought the incident day before yesterday had affected Naruto. She was glad he could smile despite all these circumstances. Jiraiya and Tsunade then sat down on the grass and asked Naruto to sit in front of them. Tsunade took out a small piece of paper and handed it over to Naruto as she thought his affinity will mostly be Suiton and Doton. But just to be sure, it's better to find it this way. What is this Ka-chan? Asked Naruto curiously, taking the piece of paper from his mother. This is chakra paper, Naruto. But before we tell you anything further, tell me, what are the 5 basic types of elements and its applications for ninjutsu? Said Jiraiya sharply, hoping Naruto would give the correct answer after all the training that he was given. There are 5 basic types of chakra into which the nature of chakra can be transformed, called 5 elements nature transformation. These 5 types are also called elements and are the origin of names of the 5 great shinobi nations. The 5 basic natures are all connected to each other in a circle, each being weaker than the one and stronger than the other. They are Katan, fire, Suiton, water, Futon, wind, Doton, earth, and Raiton, lightning. Apart from these 5 nature types, there are yin and yang nature types. These 2 are the most basic types of chakra which are present in all the humans. Yet, it is extremely difficult to master these due to the level of chakra control that is required. Explained Naruto briefly. Accurate as always, Naruto. That was a good detailed answer. Said Jiraiya proudly. He could see how much Naruto resembled Minato. Not only in terms of looks, but their knowledge about the basics of shinobi arts and their determination. He felt extremely proud to be able to teach Minato's son. Seeing as Jiraiya was done speaking, Tsunade gathered Naruto's attention and spoke. Every person has chakra that has an affinity towards one of these types, a characteristic that seems to be genetic, since whole clans sometimes share the same affinity. Most members of the Senju clan, for example, either had an affinity towards Suiton or Doton. Some members of the Senju clan, such as Tobirama Senju, was so skilled Suiton ninjutsu that he could convert the moisture in the surrounding environment and create water. Even though Naruto had heard stories of the Senju brothers, as Hashirama and Tobirama were often called, he was enthralled by it every time. He looked at his mother with a star-eyed expression which made her sweat drop slightly. She knew how much Naruto loved to listen to stories of her grandfather and granduncle, but still. Naruto could be eccentric at times, she mused with a small smile. Jiraiya smiled, seeing the interaction between mother and son. Coming back to the topic at hand, Jiraiya nudged Tsunade a bit to continue what she was saying. Now, Naruto, there are certain elements which are made by mixing two or more elements together. Normally, shinobi are not able to use such elements if they do not have extreme control over their chakra or have a Kekkei Genkai. Mokuton is an element which is formed when Doton and Suiton nature-type chakras are simultaneously used together. So, we can be sure that your chakra is attuned to these two nature types. Tsunade said. Naruto nodded his head, understanding what he was told just now. He closed his eyes as he seemed to ponder over a question. Ka-chan, Jiraiya Aji-chan, what would happen if a person tries to perform a jutsu of a nature type he does not have? Naruto asked curiously. That's a good question, Naruto. Usually, it would be extremely difficult for a person to master ninjutsu of that element, as it is not his nature type and it would require a lot of chakra. But it is not impossible. A person could still learn a technique of that element which he does not have, but it wouldn't be very effective. That is, unless they train vigorously in using that element. Explained Jiraiya. So, how does one find their chakra affinity from this paper, Aji-chan? Naruto asked. As I said before, the paper you have in your hand is called chakra paper. It is a piece of paper made from a special type of tree. The tree is grown and fed with chakra. The paper is used to react to even the slightest hint of chakra in any number of ways, depending on the nature of chakra you have. Jiraiya said, and he took another chakra paper from Tsunade. He asked Naruto to watch him closely as he transferred a trace amount of chakra to the chakra paper. As soon as Jiraiya's chakra came in contact with the chakra paper, half of it crumbled to dust and the other half of it burnt to ashes. So, you see that I have two chakra natures, Doton and Katon. If your affinity is Katon, it will burn. If it's Doton, it will crumble. If your affinity is Futon, it will be sliced, if it is Suton, it will become soggy or damp, and if your affinity is Raiton, it will wrinkle. Now channel your chakra into the paper and let's see what happens. Explained Jiraiya. Naruto was feeling slightly anxious and he looked at his mother. She smiled and nodded for him to continue. Naruto then channeled chakra into the paper and the results were quite astonishing. At first, the paper got extremely damp, then it got sliced in half, but before it could reach the ground, one half of it crumbled to dust and the other half wrinkled. Both Tsunade's and Jiraiya's eyes widened on seeing the results. They had expected Naruto to have 2 affinities at most, but for him to have 4 natural affinities at such a young age was truly mind-boggling. Impossible, thought Tsunade. How is that even possible? Thought Jiraiya. Whoa, thought Naruto as he just stared at the fallen pieces of paper on the ground. Tsunade. Are you certain that there's nothing wrong with the paper? It must be defective or something, said Jiraiya as he still could not believe that Naruto had 4 natural nature affinities. No, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm certain. I picked it up from Sarutobi-sensei yesterday when I went to meet with him. said Tsunade. But 4. Is that even possible for a person to have? Questioned Tsunade again. I don't really know, said Jiraiya. I can explain his Doton and Suiton affinity easily enough as it was an expected result, but as for Raiton and Futon, well, it obviously came from Minato, since he had both. But he naturally had Futon affinity and later trained his Raiton affinity which he gained during the Third Great Shinobi War. But, still, this is like 1 in a million chance. This is pure luck, I suppose, whispered Jiraiya softly to Tsunade as he was still baffled to what just happened. This is so cool, Ka-chan, Jiraiya Aji-chan. I can become super strong now, exclaimed Naruto in one of his rare childish moments. Tsunade and Jiraiya soon calmed their nerves after the baffling discovery and stared at Naruto and how happy he seemed. They looked around themselves and saw how trees, plants and the grass looked much greener and livelier than before. They could feel the chakra Naruto was releasing unconsciously and it was calming. It was soothing. Even after getting a feel of Naruto's chakra so many times, it was hard for them to believe that his chakra was this powerful and so full of life energy. As they continued to stare at little Naruto, both saw a visage that will etch this moment in their minds forever. For Jiraiya, he saw an image of Minato standing behind Naruto with his right arm on his son's head and smiling at him. For Tsunade, she saw Hashirama, Tobirama and Dan, Nawaki standing on either side of Naruto with proud smiles on their faces. A single tear slipped down both their eyes, unnoticed by Naruto, as both saw a child who would one day change the world for good. End flashback. As Naruto neared the Uchiha compound, he could see Itachi standing there with Sasuke. He wondered if he should tell Sasuke about what happened 2 days back and felt a little apprehensive. He feared what Sasuke would think of him. He was scared if he would stop being friends with him because he took a life. Sasuke was his first friend in the village. He faltered in his steps for a second, but continued walking towards the Uchiha brothers. Itachi saw the look of apprehension on Naruto's for a few seconds and he looked at Sasuke, who was standing beside him and turned his gaze back to the blonde. He knew what Naruto must have been thinking. News of Naruto's actions had now spread to the entire village. He knew what Naruto did was in self-defense and did not blame the blonde whatsoever. Rather, he was proud that someone so young as Naruto could protect a citizen of Konohagakure no Sato. As Naruto reached the two brothers, he waved his hands at them with a smile and said, "Ohayo Itachi, Sasuke." "Hello Naruto." Sasuke replied with his usual not-so-cheery demeanor. Sasuke immediately stood in front of him and gazed into his eyes. Naruto felt a bit unnerved because of the stare and thought Sasuke already knew about the incident involving him. He was going to say something when Sasuke suddenly put both his hands on his shoulders and said, "Naruto, it's been a while since we trained together. Last time was probably 2 or 3 months back. Come on, there's a nice spot near the lake at the back of Uchiha compound, we can train with Itachi Nii-san without any disturbance." Sasuke immediately took off to the area near the lake after that. Naruto was about to go after him when Itachi stopped him. "Naruto-kun, walk with me. I wish to talk with you," Itachi said in a soft voice. Naruto nodded as both started walking towards their destination. Sasuke, who was ahead of them, noticed that Naruto was walking with his brother. Instead of deciding to go back and walk along with them, he sent chakra to his ears and decided to hear what the two were talking about. Itachi sensed Sasuke using a slight bit of chakra but did not make any comment on it. In the past year, Sasuke too had intensively trained himself in the ways of molding and controlling his chakra inside his body. To say he was good would be an understatement. Itachi was considered the genius in the Uchiha clan. A prodigy who could one day rival Madara Uchiha, if he reaches his prime age. But training Sasuke for so many months now, Itachi realized his brother was years ahead of him in terms of grasping the theory behind chakra. Itachi felt immense joy whenever he would watch Sasuke practice hard until dusk and then carry him back to the house. "How are you feeling, Naruto-kun?" Itachi asked, opting to start off things calmly. "I'm fine." "Why do you ask?" Naruto was now sure why Itachi wanted to talk to him. Itachi and Naruto had a very friendly relationship. Itachi often helped Naruto with his training when he was free or oversaw Sasuke and Naruto training together. Naruto knew Itachi was a very observant person, so he realized there would be no point in trying to avoid the topic. "I don't know, Nii-san. I guess I'm fine. But it will take time to forget the event," whispered Naruto softly. That was another thing. Naruto rarely called Itachi Nii-san. It was usually when something was weighing heavily on Naruto's mind and he did not know how to confront the problem. Yes, talking to the Kyuubi, his mother and Jiraiya Aji-chan had calmed him down immensely. But it did not make him forget the problem or the fact that he could still see the face of the dead shinobi when he closed his eyes. He needed someone to tell him what he was feeling was not abnormal. Someone other than his family to say that what he did was okay. "I understand, Naruto-kun. What you're feeling right now is normal. The life of a shinobi is hard. It's filled with hardships and a lot of difficult decisions. But it's those decisions you make that define the type of person you are. You are not a bad person, Naruto. You saved a young girl. A young girl whose entire world only consisted of her family in Konoha," Itachi said as he and Naruto kept walking ahead. He wasn't looking at Naruto while speaking, but he knew the blonde was listening to each word he was saying raptly. "I was 8 when I first saw my teammate die in front of me. We were out on a mission and our sensei was scouting the area. My teammates and I were sitting a few distances away. There we were confronted by a missing ninja. I was the youngest among everyone in my team and I was terrified when the missing ninja came to strike me with his katana. I was frozen at my spot. That's when my teammate suddenly came in front of me and took the fatal blow which ended in his death. That's when I had killed the missing ninja, later realizing that my hesitation had cost an innocent life. The fact that you're feeling guilty towards killing an enemy proves that you're a good human. So, don't put yourself down for killing someone who was wishing harm towards your village." Itachi finished saying as he looked towards Naruto to gauge his reaction. Itachi was glad when he saw a tiny glimpse of relief wash over the little blonde's face. Yes, Naruto felt relieved. What Itachi said did justify the reasons logically according to Naruto. Yet, that did not mean he enjoys the fact that he took a life. It will take some time getting used to the fact shinobi are supposed to kill to protect. But I wish we did not have to kill others, thought Naruto, albeit a bit sadly. Soon enough, both Itachi and Naruto reached a small grassy land which could be used for training near the lake. Both saw Sasuke just standing there with his back turned to them. It was slightly strange. Even though Sasuke did not socialize with many children his age, he was a cheerful child in a way. As Naruto approached Sasuke from behind, he saw him turn and saw a strange new look in his eyes. "Fight me, Naruto." Meanwhile in Kumogakure no Sato, or the village hidden by the clouds, is the hidden village of the Land of Lighting. The village is located in a range of tall mountains and is literally hidden in the clouds. Like all the hidden villages, Kumogakure had a design somewhat similar to the other great shinobi villages, which were created during the founding of the hidden villages during the First Great Ninja War. However, unlike many nations, Kumo had not demilitarized themselves after the Third Great Ninja War. Aside from the children, nearly 75% of Kumogakure's population were ninja from the way they walked. Kumogakure had a large history of attempting to seek an edge over other hidden villages. During the First and Second Shinobi World Wars, Kumo had attempted kidnapping several people who possessed special abilities from Mizu no Kuni and Tsuchi no Kuni. It was one of the only places in the elemental nations where most of the people had dark skin. In the middle of the village, there was a large blue tower which was the Raikage Tower, built on top of the tallest mountain. It was similar in appearance to the Hokage Tower, except it was made of stone and concrete. Inside the Raikage's office at the desk sat a rather large man with what looked like a dumbbell in his hand. This was the Yondaime Raikage of Kumogakure no Sato. He was made the Yondaime Raikage following his father, the Sandaime Raikage's death in a battle against 10,000 opposing shinobi. However, unlike the previous Raikage, showed no interest in stealing another hidden village's bloodline. Was a very large, muscular man with slicked back white hair and a small mustache. He was wearing his Kage hat and robe with a shirt underneath, allowing others to see his Hulk-like physique. Each wrist had a gold gauntlet which looked extremely heavy at first glance. It was easy for anyone to tell that the man was a taijutsu specialist. One who most likely used his large frame to overpower his enemies. After a few minutes of lifting the dumbbell, dropped it down, which caused several cracks to appear on the floor, and he went back to signing the papers which were kept on his desk. "Damn you, father. You just had to die and leave me to do this annoying job," yelled as he kept on signing the papers while muttering curses to his dead father. Suddenly the door to his office opened and in walked his secretary, Mabui. She was a dark-skinned young woman with green eyes. She wore very formal attire consisting of a long-sleeved, high-collared dress shirt and skirt, along with a pair of long earrings and sandals. She wore her light gray hair pulled back into a bun with two bangs that fell on either side of her face. Mabui possessed a unique technique that allows her to transfer matter over long distances at the speed of light. It was for this technique that she was made the Raikage's assistant. "Raikage-sama. There's an urgent message from the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha. It's addressed directly to you," she said hastily as she handed the letter to A. As A read the letter that was addressed to him, his facial features first turned to a scowl, then anger, and when he read the last bit of information on the letter, it turned to one of utter disbelief. He instantly got up from his seat and said, "Mabui, get me B immediately and tell him it's an order. B and I will be traveling to Konohagakure no Sato right away. Do not inform the council about our trip. I will deal with them once I get back from there. It's time to get rid of those idiotic fools," shouted A with a bit of anger present in his voice. Mabui was a bit taken back from his command but nodded nonetheless. She left the office to look for B, the guardian of Kumogakure no Sato, or otherwise known as the Hachibis, 8, Tails, Jinchuriki and other nations. Near the lake at the back of Uchiha compound, Konohagakure no Sato. Naruto was taken aback by the way those words were said. He could feel something was disturbing Sasuke, but he didn't know why. Meanwhile, Itachi, who had a vague idea regarding his brother's sudden reaction, decided stand nearby and see how the event unfolded. "Why, Sasuke? Why now?" asked Naruto carefully. "Just fight me. I want to see how I compare myself to you," he said. "I want to know if I'm capable enough to protect you, my foolish little brother," Sasuke muttered to himself as he clenched his fists. "Previously, I want to know if I'm capable enough to protect you, my foolish little brother," Sasuke muttered to himself as he clenched his fists. Present Naruto and Sasuke stood at about 14 feet from each other. They were standing at the bank of the Naka River, in the territory of the Uchiha clan. Both standing there, unmoving and staring at each other. The wind moved freely, making Naruto's golden blonde hair sway a bit. He saw Sasuke clench his fists and avert his eyes. He couldn't understand why Sasuke was acting this way. He looked at Itachi, who was standing under a tree and looking at them without any expression. He saw the older Uchiha nod his head and understood the meaning behind it. "Don't worry, Naruto-kun. If anything goes out of hand, I will intervene." "Are you going to fight me or not, Naruto?" Sasuke asked again through gritted teeth as he shut his eyes. He was feeling anger. Anger at the people who caused Naruto pain. He was feeling hurt. Hurt because Naruto felt guilty for doing what he did and couldn't talk to him first. So many different emotions were going through his mind right now. He felt a slight tingling sensation in his eye, but kept it shut. He didn't know why he felt so strongly attached to Naruto. It hurt him inside when he would see the blonde sad. He had seen him hide his pain behind those goofy smiles of his for years now. He knew how much Naruto loved Konoha and the villagers. Naruto's love for the villagers was far greater than his dislike towards them. He understood that, when they spoke about each other's dream on top of the Hokage monument. Naruto closed his eyes and took a deep breath and exhaled calmly. I have to calm down. If he wants to fight, then fine. He opened his violet eyes and looked at Sasuke with a determined expression. Alright Sasuke. If that is what you want, I will give it to you. Sasuke's only response was to open his eyes and stare at Naruto with his Sharingan eyes. His once coal-black eyes had now turned blood red with two tomos present in each. An Uchiha's love for their people is far greater than anyone in this world. It is said that, the Sharingan is the eye that shows the hidden emotions of a human. As Naruto stared into Sasuke's Sharingan and felt the waves of emotions surging from him, he understood one thing. How much do you love me, Nii-san? Itachi widened his eyes seeing Sasuke's Sharingan. His love for Naruto is far greater than I imagined. Naruto was quite shocked seeing Sasuke's Sharingan. His feet fumbled a bit but he regained his composure quickly. Those blood-red eyes were unnerving indeed. But Naruto knew, the one standing before him was his friend, his brother. His mother had told him about the Uchihas a lot and about their prized Jujutsu, Sharingan, the eyes that can see through a person's soul. Naruto and Sasuke stood facing one another, each in their respective family taijutsu katas. Naruto knew he was strong, but he had never faced or trained with someone possessing a Sharingan. Hence, he decided to take this fight seriously. He relaxed his mind and body making a single-hand seal with his left hand and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, creating two identical replicas of himself. Wordlessly, they all charged towards Sasuke at an impressive speed. Naruto saw. His brother-like figure neither smiled or tensed. He simply waited there calmly in his position. As soon as the clones reached near Sasuke, the first one threw a hard punch towards his left cheekbone, while the second one went for a leg sweep from the right. While all of this was happening, Sasuke could see the attacks coming towards him clearly, as if the time itself had slowed down. In a swift motion, he swatted away the punch that was aimed at his cheek while jumping up. As he swatted away the punch, he gave a hard kick to the face of the second clone, who stumbled back a few distances and dispelled itself. Seeing the second clone dispelled, the first one rushed towards Sasuke again and the two engaged in quite a fierce display of taijutsu. While Naruto's clone had a lot of power packed behind each of his punches and kicks, Sasuke could maneuver around them nimbly and evade the attacks easily. As Sasuke ducked under another punch, he twisted the clone's body, swatting its punch up and away. He then gave a strong palm thrust to the clone's torso. The clone suffered quite a blow and skidded a few meters back. Yet, before the clone could process anything, Sasuke drove his fist into the clone's chin, knocking it the ground and eventually dispelling it. Interesting. He seemed to be able to read my clone's movements easily. So, his Sharingan helps him in predicting the opponent's movements. Thought Naruto with surprise as he received the memory of the last clone. This was one of the main advantages of the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. It distributes the caster's chakra into equal amounts within the clones. Each clone had an independent personality and were capable of self-thinking. They could be used in fights as they can withstand several strikes, if the clone has enough chakra. They were extremely useful when spying behind enemy lines and could also be used for training purposes. The main reason for the jutsu to be labeled as a kinjutsu was because of the required chakra. But for Naruto, chakra was not an issue. Is that all you got, Senju? Sasuke taunted. All those taijutsu training he had done with Itachi and on his own were finally showing results. Naruto's eyebrow twitched slightly on hearing that remark. He took out 4 shurikens from his pouch on his right leg and threw it towards him at a fast speed while performing a few hand signs. Kage Shuriken no Jutsu, the 4 shurikens multiplied into 100 shuriken and were heading towards Sasuke at a dangerously fast speed. Reacting quickly, Sasuke took out his kunai and started deflecting them with quick blocks. He was extremely grateful to his Sharingan now, as it was helping him keep track of each one of the shurikens easily. As Naruto saw him deflect all the shurikens away in an impressive way, he sunshined right in front of Sasuke and attempted to send a right hook to his face. Seeing Naruto's movement, Sasuke quickly blocked the attack with his left hand and made a leg sweep at Naruto's legs. The Uchiha knew Naruto had put a lot of power in that hook as he could feel his left hand slightly bruised. But before Naruto could defend, he was already on the ground as he lost his balance. He backflipped a few meters away from Sasuke to avoid a kick that Sasuke had aimed at his chest. If I try to fight him head-on in taijutsu, I will suffer some serious damage. As expected of the members of Senju clan. They sure have immense physical strength. I will have to use it then, thought Sasuke in a span of a couple of seconds and started going through a few hand seals. As Sasuke finished the last hand sign, he put his ring finger and thumb joined together in front of his mouth and said, Katon, Gokyaku no Jutsu, and breathed out a large ball of fire that was headed straight towards Naruto. Shit! That thing is huge! Naruto thought, as he quickly performed the Kawarami no Jutsu and substituted himself with a log of wood. However, Sasuke had already seen the build of chakra within Naruto and knew what he was planning. Before Naruto could release a breath of relief, he had to be immediately on guard as he saw Sasuke run straight towards him. He's really fast. Naruto thought. He had to put a lot of strength in his hand to block Sasuke's punch with his left hand. He looked straight at Sasuke to meet his gaze and saw him glaring with his Sharingan. Both Naruto and Sasuke then pulled their right hands back and poured their remaining strength in their fist and punched each other in their left cheek. The force of the impact was too much as they both were thrown back onto the ground, with bruised cheeks. Itachi, who was silently observing the fight from far, decided to intervene and sunshined in between the two. That's enough. There is no need to continue this. Itachi said in a commanding tone. They are both incredibly strong for their ages. I doubt even I was that good. He looked towards Naruto and thought, his taijutsu is incredible. Though he is young, he has a lot of strength. No doubt, Tsunade-sama's been helping him with that. While Naruto nodded as he never wanted to fight his closest friend, Sasuke settled with a grunt, HN. Itachi looked up at the sky and knew it was time for the Uchiha clan meeting. A few months back, the Uchiha clan had started keeping regular meetings. Now, that he was Chunin, his father had requested his presence within council chambers. He doubted anything good will come out of the discussions. He wasn't blind to the treatment given to the Uchihas by the village elders. Many of them believed the cause of the attack 5 years ago to be the Uchihas. He released a tired sigh and looked at his brother. Sorry, Sasuke. I must go now. I will train you some other time, okay? He said in a kind voice. Sasuke felt like saying something. He had seen Itachi do this quite often in the past few months. So, he just settled for nodding as he lied on the ground looking at the sky. Itachi did not say anything further and sunshined out of the area. Naruto looked at Sasuke sadly and went closer to him. He lied down beside him and he too stared at the sky. What happened, Sasuke? Naruto asked sadly. Why couldn't you talk to me about what happened to you earlier, Naruto? Sasuke in a low voice as he continued to look at the sky. Naruto felt his heartbeat increase when he heard the question. He was worried what Sasuke would think about him. He didn't want his only friend to look at him warily and like everyone else. Naruto looked away from Sasuke and said in a hushed voice. Do you hate me now? Do you think I'm a murderer? Not even a second later Naruto found himself held in the air by the hem of his shirt. He looked down and saw Sasuke glaring at him with his Sharingan. "How could you even say that?" Sasuke yelled. In that moment, Naruto saw something in those Sharingan eyes that he would never forget. It terrified him. Hate. Insurmountable hate. Not for him. For the shinobi who caused him pain. And it was gone, as soon as it came. Naruto looked away in shame. "I'm sorry, Sasuke. I shouldn't have asked that question." Sasuke's eyes softened a bit hearing that. No matter what, he could never hate Naruto. The blonde was the only one who understood him completely. It was strange indeed. They were from rival clans, and yet they understood each other completely. Even though they weren't related by blood, they felt like brothers. "You did the right thing, Naruto. Had you not killed that shinobi, you would have died. My Nii-san and Tuchan always tell me, killing is part of the shinobi world. You may not like doing it, but shinobis are those who endure pain and fight from the shadows," Sasuke said solemnly. Naruto was amazed the way Sasuke was talking. He knew Sasuke was much smarter than him, and that's why he always listened to each and everything he said with rapt attention. "I know, Sasuke. I understand." The two laid on the ground again as a comfortable silence took over. Naruto noticed a slight change in Sasuke's demeanor, but couldn't exactly pinpoint it. So, he decided to leave it for now. It couldn't be much drastic anyway, he thought. Only if he knew. "Sasuke, I have to go. It's getting late. Ka-chan must be worried about me," Naruto said as he got up from his position. Sasuke looked at Naruto and nodded. He didn't feel like speaking right now. Naruto understood his friend and waved him goodbye. He disappeared to the Senju compound then, in a sunshin. It had been around an hour after Naruto had left and Sasuke was now walking back towards his house. He had been thinking a lot on different subjects since then. What is a true shinobi? What is the duty of a shinobi? What is the meaning of the village? Whatever he knew about being a shinobi and about the village was told to him from someone else's view. But he wanted to find out the meaning behind those on his own. He wanted to view things in his own perspective. As Sasuke was about to enter the doors of the main house within the Uchiha compound, he suddenly looked towards his left near the wall with his Sharingan active. "I thought I saw someone there," Sasuke thought cautiously as he entered his house. "So. It was you who inherited Mother's powers. I will always be watching you, my dear Sasuke," said a dark black figure who rose from the ground near the wall. Next morning, Senju compound. After Naruto reached home last night, he immediately went to bed after having dinner. He was told someone special would be coming to meet him in the next 2 or 3 days. Even though he had asked several times who it was, Jiraiya just waved him off, saying it's worth the wait. As he laid in bed last night, he had thought a lot about his fight with Sasuke. He knew he had more stamina and strength compared to him. But that was the only thing which had favored him during the fight. He was sure, in a straight-out taijutsu fight, he would have won. He wasn't sure about his chances of winning had the fight continued. Since he had started training with Sasuke a few years back, he quickly realized while he was good in shinobi arts because he worked extremely worked, Sasuke was rather gifted in the field. He had seen how quickly Sasuke learnt the shuriken jutsu while it took him some time to get it right. Even though he knew the fact Sasuke was better than him in various aspects, instead of forming a sense of envy, he admired him even more. He was amazed how quickly Sasuke could adjust to the Sharingan and the fact he could use ninjutsu so effortlessly. Currently, Naruto was sitting in a meditative pose in the gardens at the back of the main house of the Senju compound. He had been sitting in that position for the past few hours. Meditation was one of the best ways to get a feel of the chakra flowing inside one's body. The more you feel tuned with chakra, the easier it becomes to control the flow of it. Meditation also helped in calming one's mind. The infusion of chakra is the mingling of the essence of one's spiritual energy and physical energy. The more one becomes in control of their mind, the stronger their spiritual energy becomes. Another reason why Naruto was doing this was to get a better feel of how to use his Mokuton abilities. Hashirama Senju was the only shinobi other than him who could perform Mokuton. Unfortunately, the man wasn't alive anymore who could guide Naruto in the right direction. Although, he had left several notes on his Kekkei Genkai in the Senju clan library in the hope that one of his descendants could use the same ability as him. Meanwhile, Tsunade was busy searching for those notes in the library. Jiraiya had advised Naruto to better understand the flow of his own chakra and become more attuned to it. He had been told Mokuton was a combined nature transformation of Doton and Suiton nature chakra. So, to be able to perform Mokuton he was mainly focusing on the Doton and Suiton chakra inside his body. Jiraiya was calmly sitting beside the blonde and watching him meditate. Behind Naruto there were two more Naruto clones who had one leaf in each of their hands. While one clone was trying to crumble the leaves in his hands to dust, the other was trying to dampen the leaves. Even after hours of continuously doing it, the Naruto clone trying to make the leaf crumble to dust had barely managed to change the nature of the leaf. It was frustrating for him. Jiraiya watched the clones bemusedly as they were giving their full concentration on their tasks with beads of sweat rolling down their forehead. It reminded him of the time when he, himself was attempting nature transformation exercises for the first time. It was a hard and tiring attempt indeed. Jiraiya had been training the blonde since the past few years and was surprised every time with rate at which Naruto learned different things. Guess, he finally found something which he can't learn within a day. Jiraiya chuckled inwardly when he saw one of the clones crush the leaves in his hands in frustration. Another 2 hours passed by and Naruto had still been sitting in the meditative pose. Jiraiya was impressed with the patience the blonde exhibited and a slight somber expression etched on his face. Naruto was an exact replica of Minato in about everything. Jiraiya missed his former student dearly. He often found himself gloomy and drinking sake in a bar alone for no reason. He still couldn't forge her that night, when Minato said he would sacrifice himself for the future of the village. He couldn't be any more proud or sad at the same moment. He got such thoughts out of his head as smiled slightly looking at Naruto. The kid had fine qualities to become Hokage in the future. Yada! Finally, I did it, shouted a Naruto clone as he jumped up and down in excitement. Jiraiya turned his head towards the clone and saw it was the one which was trying to dampen the leaves in his hands. Oh, shut up! Stupid fool! Exclaimed the second Naruto clone as he had only managed to crumble a 3/4 of the leaf to dust. The first Naruto clone's shoulders slumped in depression as a dark cloud started looming above him. Jiraiya's sweat dropped at the clone's antics. Jiraiya clapped his hands once to gain Naruto's attention. Alright, that's enough for now. You have made good progress today. Even though Jiraiya had said that, he was amazed how quickly the boy was able to get the hang of it. Most shinobi could not convert their chakra into a different nature so quickly given only a few hours, while Naruto was almost there. Naruto slowly opened his and saw it was past noon now. He saw Jiraiya giving him a warm smile and smiled in return. He looked behind himself and ordered his clones to dispel themselves. As soon as the clones dispelled themselves, the memories of the clones entered his mind. He understood the way they two clones were converting their chakra into Doton and Suiton. The precise amount of chakra that was used by the first clone to dampen the leaves and where the second clone was going wrong to crumble the leaves to dust. Naruto slowly got up from the ground and walked to a nearby bush and plucked 2 leaves from them. Jiraiya, eyeing the boy curiously, walked towards him. What are you doing, Naruto? He asked curiously. Just watch Aji-chan. Naruto replied in a calm voice. In the past few hours, he understood a lot about his chakra. Ever since he had awakened Mokuton, he realized his chakra flow had become much smoother compared to before. The Kyuubi had explained him how the seal that contained him and the Sanbai worked. The seal absorbed a small amount of the Kyuubi's and Sanbai's chakra every day and added it to Naruto's own chakra circulatory system. This not only increased the volume of Naruto's chakra but also the potency, thus making the flow of his chakra slightly turbulent. But, when he awakened his dormant Kekkai Genkai, the serene and tranquil essence of the Mokuton chakra not only increased the potency of his life force and chakra but also calmed down his turbulent chakra flow, having a soothing and relaxing effect on the bijus inside of him, thus increasing his control over his enormous chakra pools. As Naruto took the 2 leaves in each of his hand, he closed his eyes to focus. A few seconds later, he opened his eyes and transferred his chakra into the 2 leaves. The leaf in his right hand immediately became extremely damp, indicating he had used Suiton natured chakra, while the leaf in his left hand immediately crumbled to dust, signifying he used Doton natured chakra in through his left hand. He actually did it, thought an incredulous Jiraiya. I did it, Aji-chan, voiced Naruto as he grinned happily. Jiraiya couldn't help but see an image of Minato in Naruto. He still remembered the day when he had started Minato on his elemental training. While Minato was a genius among prodigies, Naruto was. He honestly didn't know how to describe the boy. He may not be as sharp as Minato, but he manages to surprise him every time. However, looking at the little boy, he was sure if anyone could surpass the Yondaime, it would be him. Jiraiya rested his hand on Naruto's blonde hair, looking at him with a serious face for a few seconds. His facial expression then softened as he said, "I'm really proud of you, Naruto." Border between Land of Frost and Land of Hot Springs, 2 people could be seen hopping from one tree to another at a fast pace on the outskirts of Shimagakure, in the Land of Frost. They had been traveling at a similar pace from the past one day with a couple of stoppages in between to recover their lost chakra, even though it was negligible. They were currently nearing the border of the Land of Hot Springs and their destination, Konohagakure no Sato, was probably a day or 2 away if they continued traveling at their current pace. To the civilians, these 2 shinobi were a mere blur, while for these 2, those who knew them would say was a normal occurrence. While one of them sculpted a serious-looking face with his white-colored eyebrows furrowed, the other one was scribbling something in his little notebook. But if one were to notice him closely, they would see even he had opted a slightly serious face. The 2 shinobi were A, the Yondaime Reikage of Kumogakure no Sato, and Killer B, the Hachibi Jinchuriki and the Guardian of Kumo. The reason for their serious demeanor was due to the content of the letter, which was addressed to the Reikage by the current Sandaime Hokage of Konoha. "What were you thinking, Namikaze?" A thought furiously as he jumped from the branch, his foot landed to the next with extreme force, causing cracks to appear on it. Flashback: as they opened the letter, he unfolded the paper to read it properly. To Yondaime Reikage of Kumogakure no Sato, I regret to inform you that the Kumogakure diplomat you had sent to our village for discussing the trade routes has been killed due to his actions. He was caught escaping the village with the current heiress of the prestigious Hyuga clan, Hinata Hyuga, a mere 5-year girl. After his death, his mind was searched by a member of our interrogation department as per protocol. We have evidence linking his actions under the orders of few people from the Kumogakure Council. We also believe, you had no idea of your shinobi's transgressions and he acted outside of your knowledge. So, I would request you to come to Konoha to settle this matter without the knowledge of your own council. Also, I understand that Minato and you were good friends after the Third Shinobi World War had ended. Do not be surprised, Reikage-sama. Minato had informed me about the time he rescued your brother, Killer B, and you during the mission IA. So, I'm aware of everything that took place. I believe you were saddened upon hearing the Yondaime Hokage's death. However, not known to anyone outside the village and even majority of the population within our village, Minato had a son. Naruto Namikaze. He was the one who rescued young Hinata from your shinobi and eventually killed him. He was adopted by Tsunade Senju into the Senju clan by request from Minato and Kushina themselves, on the day of his birth. The Kyubi no Yoko and the Sanbai who attacked our village, a few years back are sealed into young Naruto. You realize how the life a Jinchuriki is. Your brother himself houses the 8 tails within him. Thus, I request you to bring your brother, Killer Bee along with you to meet young Naruto. Your safety in our village will be properly taken care of. I would like our 2 villages to form an alliance with each other despite the rough start that we faced as of now. I believe you and Minato shared the same dream of peace. This could be the first step to it. Sandame. Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, Hiruzen Sarutobi flashback End B was following his brother at an even pace. He knew the gravity of the situation. While he wasn't told about Naruto being the Jinchuriki of the 9 and 3 tails, he was told about him being Minato's son by. Minato had immediately gained B's respect when he saved him and his brother from the clutches of the butchers in Iwagakure during the Third Great Shinobi War. Mission IA was Minato's crowning achievement which helped his ascension to the position of the Yondaime Hokage. Despite being from an enemy village, Minato had saved the brothers as he could sense they were different from the other shinobis in Kumogakure. While in Sage mode, Minato had the ability to feel people's chakra signatures as well as emotions. A and Killer Bee had never been more grateful to anyone. They had indeed been down upon hearing of Minato's death during the Kyubi and Sanbai attack 5 years ago. Thus, hearing he has a legacy left behind who's none other than the son of Slug Sannin, Tsunade Senju was indeed quite a shock to them. Get your speed up B. We need to cross the border between Land of Fire and Land of Hot Springs by tomorrow. Grunted A, as he increased the amount of chakra flowing around his body which caused the lightning to sparkle more and doubling his speed. You got it brother, yelled B, as he too increased the chakra flowing in his legs, tripling his speed. Uchiha Compound Training Ground, Konoha. It was late evening, around 7, in the village of Konohagakure. In one of the training grounds within the Uchiha compound, Itachi Uchiha and Sasuke Uchiha could be seen sparring with one another. Both had their Sharingan activated. While Itachi had a fully matured Sharingan, 3 tomos in each eye. Sasuke had 2 tomos in each. It came as a surprise to the entire Uchiha clan that young Sasuke had activated his Sharingan at a mere age of 5. His father, Fugaku Uchiha, the current head of the clan, had been extremely proud of his younger son and so were the other members. Great things were expected of the young prodigy. Itachi and Sasuke were engaged in a fierce display of taijutsu. There was finesse in their style. While Itachi could predict most of Sasuke's movements even without the Sharingan, Sasuke had to rely on it heavily to detect Itachi's every move. They jumped back from each other to catch some breath. Even though Itachi was far advanced than Sasuke, even he got tired after hours of just taijutsu practice. For a second he wondered how it was that Mato guy managed to go on for hours and hours without a single break. Getting his mind back to Sasuke, he was simply amazed at amount of stamina shown by his brother. Even though he was not showing a hint of emotion on his face, inwardly he was immensely proud of Sasuke. Itachi was pretty much untouched except for a bit of dust here and there, while Sasuke on the other hand was supporting. Several scrapes and bruises. As both ran towards each other again, both of their Sharingan started glowing. Sasuke threw a right hook and it was about to land perfectly on Itachi's jaw. But he ducked under it at the last second and gave Sasuke a hard punch on the ribs that sent him skidding back a few meters. Sasuke snarled as he was thrown back. Itachi quickly ran towards Sasuke and taking advantage of his lapse of concentration, threw a series of quick punches to his face. To Itachi's surprise, Sasuke maneuvered around each of them and gave a brutal uppercut to Itachi's face, sending him down on the ground. With great flexibility, Itachi back-flipped and landed on his feet, a few meters away from his brother. Sasuke charged again at Itachi and threw a punch which was sidestepped by him, who in return gave Sasuke an elbow to his back that made the younger Uchiha fall to the ground as he lost his balance. "That's enough Sasuke," Itachi said as he brushed off the dust that accumulated on his uniform. I still cannot come close to beating you Nii-san, Sasuke said muttered under his breath as he nursed his ribs. Damn, he hits hard. Just like Naruto. Itachi sighed hearing Sasuke's words and walked towards Sasuke to sit beside him. He put his hands over Sasuke's chest and they started glowing green chakra. Sasuke started to feel better as he realized his brother had used medical ninjutsu to heal his bruises. After he was all healed up, he laid down on his elbows on the ground and closed his eyes momentarily. Itachi looked at Sasuke amusedly. He had seen Sasuke being a lot more reserved since he awakened the Sharingan. He could see, Sasuke was in deep thought, so he didn't speak anything. A few minutes had passed and both had not spoken a word. Itachi started to feel slightly uneasy and decided to voice his concerns. Is there anything wrong Sasuke? Itachi asked suddenly, making Sasuke open his eyes. Ni-san, what is the meaning of the village? What is a true shinobi? Asked Sasuke genuinely. He wanted to know what they meant. His father and Naruto had completely different views of these questions. While his father thought of a village as nothing more than a foundation of set of systems which governs a set of rules, Naruto thought of the village as the people residing within it and children is what made up the future of this village. Although Itachi was shocked on hearing the question, he saw Sasuke looking at him expectantly and gave him a kind smile. A village is a place where people come together. It is a place where everyone put aside their differences. A place where the children and the old are protected. A place where people settle down and can spend their life in peace. Said Itachi. What is the duty of a shinobi? Is it just causing other people more harm? Is it following any orders without any questions? Even if the consequences of the order bring nothing but sadness. Aren't ninjas supposed to protect? Asked Sasuke with sadness in his eyes. Itachi put his hand on Sasuke's head and lifted his chin with his other hand, so he could look in his eyes. When he looked at Sasuke's Sharingan eyes he saw pain, hurt and knew he had to say something right. It's true Sasuke. That we shinobi are supposed to protect. But as ninjas, killing is a common occurrence in our shinobi system. Our world has a lot of darkness in it. But there's also light. While some people become ninja only to enjoy the thrill to kill, there are also others who have an intense desire to protect that they hold close to their heart. I won't lie to you, the way our current shinobi system is heading, there is not light at the end of it. But, still we go forward, not for our sake but for the sake of whom we love. There is always hope in this world. All it needs to change the world is the will of a single man. Hashirama Senju, the former clan head of the Senju clan single-handedly put a stop to the era of the clan wars. He along with Madara Uchiha were the one who founded our village, Konohagakure no Sato. Itachi said carefully. Sasuke looked at his older brother sadly and nodded his head as he looked towards the sky. Maybe if you become strong enough Sasuke, you could change the dark path our shinobi system has taken and bring peace to it. You have great power within you Sasuke. One day you will become a shinobi of immense power. I believe in you Aototo. Sasuke stared at his brother again with disbelief in eyes. No one had ever told him, they believed in him. Do you really believe so Nii-san? Sasuke asked softly as he averted his gaze from Itachi's eyes and heard him say, "Hi." He looked up back at sky and wondered, peace? Change the shinobi system? Itachi picked up Sasuke from the ground surprising him and put him on his back. Sasuke felt slightly embarrassed but he was glad, Itachi was there in his life. Itachi continued walking towards the house with Sasuke on his back in comfortable silence, until he heard Sasuke mutter a few words softly. Will you be always there for me Nii-san? You're my brother Sasuke. I'll always be there for you, even if it's just as an obstacle for you to overcome. Itachi said deeply. Sasuke started to have a few tears in his eyes, he knew how deeply Itachi loved him. Even if you do hate me, I'll always protect you. That's what big brothers are for. Said Itachi softly. Sasuke looked at his brother confusedly as he tried to wipe away his tears. He didn't know why his nii-san thought he would ever hate him. That could never happen. Could it? Neither Itachi nor Sasuke noticed a strange white plant-like creature that was following them. 2 days later, gates of the Konoha village. It was night time at the village hidden in the leaves. The forest surrounding the village was dense and did an excellent job in providing a cover for the Shinobi village. 2 people could be seen walking towards the village gates at casual pace. Judging from their silhouettes, both had large builds and the larger of them was wearing a hat of some sort and a robe around him. They slowly walked towards the gates and stopped near a small white cabin that was to their right. The one wearing the hat and the robe asked his partner to follow him behind as they walked towards the cabin. As they reached the window of the cabin, they saw 2 shinobis wearing uniforms who looked to be dozed off from the looks of it. The larger of them coughed once to gain sleeping shinobi's attention. The 2 shinobis hearing the voice slightly opened their eyes to see a large figure outside their window. One of them yelled loudly imagining the figure to be an animal, which irritated the figure outside to no end, while his partner snickered behind his back. Izumo. Look at him properly. It's not a damn animal, you fool. Wake up. It's Raikage-sama, said one of the shinobi inside and shook the one named Izumo vigorously. Izumo rubbed his eyes few times to remove the sleep from them and immediately bowed his head slightly, as he saw the kanji 4th lightning on the hat. You should have told me sooner, Kotetsu, whispered Izumo. Kotetsu only shook his head and sighed at his partner's antics. Kotetsu and Izumo were the gate guards of Konoha. These 2 were Chunin-level shinobis and despite their rank, they never took any missions outside the village. Rather, opting to lead a comfortable life as gate guards. However, due to their unfortunate luck, the Sandaime had made them do guard duty for the last 4 years, which gained them the title of Eternal Guards. What business do you have here, Raikage-sama? Asked Kotetsu professionally. We were asked by the Sandaime Hokage to come here for a meeting, said A, as he presented the Hokage's letter and his and B's passports to him. Kotetsu checked their passports for security purposes and marked their entry in it within the log book. A couple of ANBU landed near the gates of the village a few seconds later to escort the Raikage and his partner inside. An ANBU wearing eagle mask walked up to the Raikage and spoke, Raikage-sama. Welcome to Konoha. Sandaime-sama has been informed of your arrival. He has requested you to be escorted to the Hokage's office immediately. A settled for nodding his head in response as he and his brother were escorted towards the large white building in the center of the village with the kanji 4, fire, inscribed at the top.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.